And so what I'm really pleased to be doing now is to be interviewing Frederica Hoffman. Frederica is the EVP of Connected Business at Swisscom, talking about their new line of business. Frederica,
Hello.
how are you? Nice to see you. How are you
Very
doing?
good.
So, Frederica, I think it'd be interesting if you could tell us about your role, essentially, and how you're looking to build this new line of, I guess, connected enterprise business.
Well, let me quickly start off by saying a couple of words on Swisscom. We're the largest telco provider in Switzerland. We offer classic telco services, but also IT solutions business, which is very important for our growth and our positioning in this local market. I'm heading the corporate telco business in the B2B market, which is one of the most exciting areas if you look at what's currently happening in the marketplace. And while our classic revenues and business lines are under a lot of pressure, mostly cost related and price related, we're also managing to grow in other areas thanks to 5G and new business opportunities that we're seeing. And this is my role, basically balancing the big large business that we're still having in our mobile and fixed line business, but also growing the new business that we're seeing.
Thank you, Frederica. So let's focus on the growth part of what you do and using connectivity, particularly around LTE and 5G for connecting enterprises. Where are you on that journey? Have you moved beyond the proof of concept? Are you signing commercial deals?
We actually are. We started quite early, and you could say too early. We were very excited, and we entered about 3 to 4 years ago, starting off with 4G already, then transferring to 5G, and that was too early. Everyone was talking about Industry 4.0 and how mobile private networks, or campus networks as they're also called, would revolutionize and digitalize all industries. Only then we had to realize, after very successful POCs, and we did one of the first in Europe in Industry 4.0, that first of all, there are not that many industrial sites in Switzerland, and that the industry is not as excited as we were as telcos, and that it takes a lot of time and quite a lot of POCs to prove the benefits that we can bring. Also, there's a lot of investment required, and while companies are still weighing, is WLAN enough, or is it mobile private networks that we really need? How are the machines connected? And then we have different IoT projects, connectivity projects, investment cycles that we needed to consider. So it was quite a learning journey over the last couple of years, and now we're at a place where we ran successful POCs. We thought about how to connect the connectivity business to other parts of our business, to our cloud business, to our application business, how to get deeper into the value chain really and provide much greater value for our customers, but also move beyond our first line of business thinking that Industry 4.0 is going to be the holy grail for mobile private networks, and exploring other areas. And we've been doing this quite successfully with hospitals in the healthcare system, but also in the construction industry. Interesting enough, we have large construction sites in Switzerland, but also in Europe, where connectivity is needed, and where 5G and mobile private networks can provide great benefit if you look at upload and download quality, if you look at AI that needs to be connected, cloud services, and many more.
And I'm going to come back to what you touched on there in terms of where the value lies. But I just want to go back to what you said about being too early. And were you too early because the technology wasn't there? Or were you too early because you simply hadn't worked out how to solve companies' business problems yet through connected solutions?
That's a very good question, Mark. We've been elaborating on this quite a lot. I have to say that we've been too early because we did not fully understand our customers' needs, and we did not have the business knowledge that is needed to fully establish services that they require. So with that in mind, we realized that we need to closely collaborate not only with our customers, but also with other partners that have the industry knowledge that is needed to fully digitalize a supply chain or the automotive industry that works very different from hospitals, that works very different from classical production of medical equipment, for example.
So let's bring together those, what you said about your learnings and partnering with what you're also saying about adding value beyond just connectivity. So I guess what you've worked out is precisely where you can bring value and where you bring in partners to add value. So do you feel you have a good grip on that yet, or is that still an evolutionary process?
To me, it's still an evolutionary process. It was a hard learning journey for us as a large telco player. We believe that we can do everything ourselves, and we should be doing everything ourselves. And we have the best engineers, and we understand what the customer truly needs. So this is a learning journey from one customer to the next, where we build trust, where we see that working closely with partners actually works. Working with Microsoft Affirm, for example, is it can they keep their promises, because the customer in the end is looking at us. We're a large brand that stands for quality and reliability, and our services are world best. So we all of a sudden have a new role in a new ecosystem that is currently forming. However, the results have been very, very promising, and so good that also our hardcore engineers are understanding and learning and seeing that this is very exciting and that they can get better while working with partners and customers. And there is actually no other way around for us in Switzerland, in a relatively small market with multiple players, to gain the necessary knowledge to actually implement mobile private networks and the services that come along. We have no chance to become the best player in just one industry.
Yeah.
These industries are all too small to build enough knowledge. So we do have to partner. So there was a big need for us. And also, we invested quite early in our 5G network. 90% of the population already have access, also the companies. So we really need to build services on top in order to monetize some of our investments that are substantial for us as a company.
And you mentioned construction and healthcare. Very, very different sectors. And so I guess the challenge is working out where you can take partnerships that scale across different verticals, whereas having to
Absolutely.
be vertical specific, because ultimately, I guess you need to scale to make money from this.
Absolutely. We found healthcare to be one of the sectors where we could scale rather quickly, because a lot of the knowledge that is required is within our company. We have a section that's specifically focused on the healthcare sector. And a lot of the problems we started working on with those hospitals were actually connectivity related. So it was a very, very good start. They were in an investment cycle where they were renewing their infrastructure. So it was a good point to talk to them about, hey, how about mobile private networks? Because building on this, you could start with our IoT team and more to follow, use cases that actually help. And the current health crisis that we're facing worldwide actually helped us a lot in the past 1 to 2 years to build a strong case for, hey, how can we support hospitals in running more efficient and better, allowing patients to go home quicker, as we know that they will recover much quicker at home than at the hospitals, while at the same time saving costs and freeing up beds that are urgently needed. In order to do that, you need private networks that enable the doctors to communicate with the patients also at home, monitor them, and while at the same time keeping the data safe and not allowing for any mistakes. So that has been very, very helpful. We had some knowledge in this sector that started the whole discussion. And in Switzerland, maybe this works for other markets as well, the healthcare providers look for national examples. So it was very important to start with POCs and have those very first POCs and build knowledge and trust and have kind of a showcase. All these hospital examples from the US didn't really work in Switzerland. They want to see a hospital that is up and running in Switzerland. And then more customers and a lot more customers are coming.
And you mentioned before that you deliver connectivity, but the real value is the services on top. So can you walk us through what services you're referring to?
Let's maybe take the example of a construction site where we worked on. It's a case we developed with a customer. We've been tremendously excited. There was no connectivity on those sites that they were working. The firm is Romberg Sersa. They're evaluating rails. And they have to do this at night when no trains are going in areas that are in Switzerland rather remote, also in Austria and in Germany, maybe some mountains, lots of woods. Connectivity is not as good as you might think. And it's dangerous and heavy work. So it's hard to find the people who do the work. You always need to stop. Your equipment needs to be top notch, and you need to move it quickly to the next site because it's very expensive. We managed to build on a wagon a mobile private network, implement an edge cloud so the data could be processed on site at the highest speed available. They could learn, they could see, do they need to do repairs? Do they have all the material that they need? Is it going to be enough? Does it need to be shifted? Is any person on this construction site in danger due to rocks falling, due to material being on the wrong side, due to cars moving, and monitor if there is a train coming early or not? So that's absolutely fantastic for us because we could see the connectivity was the base for everything they wanted to do, but then they needed artificial intelligence, and they needed a different software. They needed cloud access. So really, really good for us to see that this was a starting point, and we were able to transfer this, productify it so that we can scale it. If you look at the scale, only in Switzerland, good enough for us as a business. However, it gets really, really interesting if we move with the customer through the rest of Europe. And this is what we've been working on currently.
And let's just stick with that example. So you're solving a business problem, a business challenge for the railway. And so who are you partnering with? Are you providing the main professional service skills and capabilities there, or are you bringing in partners to do that?
First of all, we partnered very, very closely with the customer, and the project developed. It started very small, and all of a sudden we saw all these other areas where we could work together. Like, how do we fully manage construction site in the future? Absolutely fantastic. However, we collaborated very, very early on with Microsoft, as we knew we couldn't provide. Microsoft affirmed that we just learned that they in the previous section that they were bought. However, we didn't know if they could deliver, so we knew we needed a partner for cloud and for the extra component. And we knew that our current partners couldn't deliver either because this was so brand new. And then we continued from there on within our company. We do offer AI software development and such services, so we could partner within the company. However, the partnership with Microsoft was probably one of the largest one for us, and also not easy, because having telco engineers work with a hyperscaler and those engineers is a very different world. While everything is brand new for us. However, it worked brilliantly because we had a common goal: solve the problem for the customer and really make a business out of it.
And so do you have confidence yet to be able to forecast what your revenues in this space might be in 2-3 years' time, or is it still just too early for that?
I'd love to, but it is quite early. We've been so confident a couple of years ago that this would be such a big business, and it hasn't been growing at all in the speed that we expected. So now we take it rather slow. However, we know that with every customer, 5 to 10 new customers are going to come that carefully look at what we're doing. So this is rather a slow and steady growth. However, the growth is big enough for us to be very interested and look into scaling the service. Where we do see a much larger business on the horizon, and that just takes a lot of lobbying and groundwork as well, is mission critical networks. If you look at what railways are doing, and railway companies or the army or policing, that they will need to change all of their system, because currently, push to talk, the services that our policing units are using, it's only voice. However, they do require video. Absolutely, they need to upload and download very, very quickly, in order to monitor difficult situations, in order to help in emergency situations. So whole new networks, and a much more reliable infrastructure are needed. And this is from an infrastructure provider point of view, a much larger business that we're seeing also with investment cycles coming up, on the horizon.
Well, Frederica, I can't tell you how interesting and refreshing it is to talk to someone about real things that you're doing rather than something that sits way in the future. So thank you so much for your time. Maybe we can hook up again in a year's time and see where you've got to, but much appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.